So we're back, XNhns. I think at SkyInclude, we did a couple at skyinclude.com/XN, cross-network, HNS Handshake, and we have the creator here, Kiba. Kiba, actually, your TLDs are everywhere, right? The Kiba loves stuff, wherever those.
Yeah. Yeah. For some
Well,
reason.
yeah, great to have you on again. I haven't done a video for SkyInclude in a while, and it's great. I'm excited to share, and I'll share how I did it as well. But we saw this tweet from Steven about your system XNhns on Fleek using Polygon. So for those that didn't see the first couple of videos, you've been working on this concept to basically cross-network handshake TLDs. So people in like Matic or Ethereum, you helped with the badass domains, the first one. I've seen Forever domains. They brought over .forever to Ethereum. These are on Matic. So you want to share a little bit about what you put together here, Kiba?
So yeah, it's pretty basic. The smart contracts have actually been ready for a while. I just never deployed them. So basically it's just you need some way to have quote unquote decentralized subdomains on Handshake, and send.forever, they are on the Ethereum mainnet, and they're only deployed to work with only one particular TLD, and cross-network Handshake is deployed to work with any TLD. So multiple Handshake domains don't have to redeploy all the same smart contracts, all the same ENS contracts over and over again. They all just be able to work and interoperate with each other. And yeah, that also makes them a bit more secure to integrate, because then you have, if one of those kind of domains shows up that isn't on the same smart contract, if you can see it's one of these handshake domains, but it's not from cross-network Handshake, you're probably less likely to trust it, because it hasn't gone through our system in a way. So it kind of helps with those kinds of things. Yeah. And yeah, so kind of how it works is you provide a deposit, and at the moment it's a pretty small deposit. It's 0.1 Matic. Yeah, I think 0.1 Matic, which is 30 cents.
Yeah, it's nothing.
At today's prices, it's really nothing, and it costs 1 cent to send the transaction, I think. So obviously it's a very beta phase. Don't want to make it extremely expensive for people to actually test the protocol and whatnot. But theoretically, let's say you try to register a domain that doesn't belong to you. You would provide that deposit, but then the system would never actually give you the TLD back, because you don't own it, and goes in and the ideal end state, you request to register some TLD, and then it will check the Handshake blockchain if you've kind of pointed to it, very similar to how ICANN TLD claiming works onto the Handshake. We kind of do the same thing for claiming a TLD on Handshake onto Ethereum or some other chain, where you just provide some DNS records, and we check those DNS records. And yeah, and so then basically if you at any time you try to if you transfer the domain and someone removes those records, or for whatever reason those Handshake records, domain records, no longer point to that chain, then if you haven't unregistered and gotten your deposit back, then it's available, that deposit on whatever chain is available for someone to kind of call out. We call it snitching, where basically they can snitch on you and say hey, they're no longer following the rules of cross-network Handshake, and this domain is no longer valid on cross-network Handshake, and then they can get part of the reward back, or part of the deposit back to the snitch, and the other part goes to the HNS fund. So that's just generally how it works. And then once you've bridged it over, you can set domain name records. You can do normal ENS stuff, setting your wallet address to a Handshake domain. You can do all of that stuff. People have already set up DNSSEC and HTTPS with XNhns domains, which is pretty cool, and all these things. So yeah,
that's really cool. So I'm going to try my best to make it easier for people. I think I'll do a tutorial. I have screenshots in my notes, so I want to maximize the time with you, Kiba, because I know you're busy. I'll go through how I've done it. I'll put some TLDs in here, but like you just said, you're locking up 0.1 Matic. So I'm logging into Polygon. So while Kiba was explaining, I was switching over to Polygon on this wallet because I was on Ethereum, but basically switch over to these different networks, right? So, and that's where the gas fees are much cheaper. So the reason I'm really excited about this is, I have .badass and I have .forever domain SLDs. I've bought and supported both, but of course, just like ENS domains, the gas, I have this I have this plugin right now, like a gas meter. It's like that's one of, I don't know, at least me and some others, the issues with Ethereum is these, like looking up to 627 Gwei like today, is the gas fees often more. So yeah, with Matic, which is a layer two Ethereum, I'm probably gonna say things wrong. I'm still a student, but of course, 0.1 Matic, like Kiba says, is 30 cents, and a gas fees is like a penny. So you're for like 30 cents, at least for now, I'm sure you'll increase the deposit later. So you could put like Kiba, if so, I have to have the TLD. So I did one for Polygon domain, and then you have to verify that by updating the text records, name server records, and then migrate. So we moved it over, and so I have some questions I put together. I think you've gotten to check it out. So I brought over like Runt and Chowder and some other funny ones, like just to test. So the idea is, I think a lot of people have multiple TLDs, and Handshake, I think that's kind of one of the amazing things is we can, as individuals or companies, own a TLD and multiple TLDs. So we have to make like a front end, right, for people to register. We can use like a fork of ENS domains on, GitHub, which is I think what badass.domains did. I don't think I've seen it on their other front ends. Could we have multiple TLDs? Like somebody could register a .runt or .chowder or .kiba loves dogs or something like that, or whatever, like on one front end.
At the moment, I don't think so. No, you'd have to set up like one. At the moment, you have to set up one app per TLD. It should definitely be possible to set up a single front end that like interacts with multiple different TLD or SLD registrars. But you just have to like keep track of which registrars or which contract addresses control which SLDs.
Okay. And would the ENS fork work on Matic? I guess it's just we'd be using the same. I still don't. I was never really a developer even in Web 2, but Web 3, like, so basically it would, instead of connecting to an Ethereum wallet, well, it's layer 2 Ethereum. So it's, because I even tried going to app.ens domains, and while I was on my Polygon network, which you saw during the interview, I flipped over to Matic and it says not supported. So of course this is Ethereum.
Yeah, you can, like, if you're making your own app, then, or like your own front end, then yeah, you can just set it up to work with Polygon instead of Ethereum mainnet.
Okay. Yeah, I would. I don't know. I don't know how, is that a lot different? I mean, if I had somebody in our, somebody to help me, because I might need help, or we're trying to actually maybe make it a service or something to help people to do that. I just don't know how involved it would be to do that differently.
Yeah, changing the network is not that difficult. Like, probably only have to change like a couple. You don't have to like write any code. It's just changing some settings and configurations. Okay. Setting up a new TLD should also just be changing some configurations. At least if you're forking the .badass app or the .forever app, we made some like modifications to make it more configurable. Like the original ENS app just had like .eth hard coded in everywhere.
Got it.
Yeah, we kind of fixed that up.
Okay, I'm going to try my best to link this up on the notes. Okay, so that's definitely exciting. So of course, just I hope people understand. I know it's a bit technical. I'll try to link up to the forks, but basically, Kiba helped with the badass.domains, so people could register .badass as a Handshake TLD, and it's using a fork of ENS. They received this from, got the fork of ENS domains from GitHub, and what Kiba just said is when he also put this on GitHub, which somebody could download, and it's also made a little bit more flexible so that you can more easily change this TLD which is different from what ENS.domains had it more hard coded. Just to I'm kind of repeating, but hopefully maybe helping some people understand more clearly.
Multiple SLDs from that interface. I don't think it should be too difficult to set up. You just have to keep track of which addresses, like which Polygon or Ethereum mainnet addresses are responsible for selling each individual TLDs domains. So like this address is responsible for .badass. This other address would be responsible for whatever your .polygon domains. So you just have to like figure out a way to track all those different ones and then figure out which address to send the actual registration to when you want to open up a new second level domain.
Understand. Yeah. So see, I did some verification. So this is one that I verified. So this is the contract on Polygon, right, of moving this TLD over. And this is my address. This is the contract address, right? Mm-hmm. I'm still learning that. I'm trying. And that's a transaction. So this is on Polygon, not Ethereum mainnet or level 1, level 2. Okay. Hope I'm not saying anything wrong. So of course, some people wonder, I think you kind of explained about the snitch. So if I was to sell my TLD or turn off these records, because while it's on Matic or Polygon, I could maybe sell this on Namebase or ShakeDex. It would still work as long as the TLD records are the DNS records are the same, right? The owner could change, but as long as it's still pointing to these settings, the text record and S record, and the risk is obviously would mess up anybody that got an SLD on it, but you would also lose this deposit. One call. Okay.
So the idea is that once this comes out of a testing phase, the deposit will be a lot higher.
Yep.
And also it will be easier, in whatever registration interface, people that are buying SLDs will be able to see how much has been deposited for the TLD. So they can say, this person only deposited, let's say one Matic.
Yeah.
And they'll say well, why would I pay 10 Matic for an SLD if this person can only lose one Matic if they steal my domain or whatever? So putting out that information will be important.
Yeah. Nice. I think maybe we should go a little bit more basics. What can I use a Matic domain? Or I guess it depends on any, you also even mentioned, I think, about Cosmos. A lot of people, at least in my world, I'm also getting into Cosmos a lot, which is Atom. And there's, everybody, it's like tribes, right? These blockchains are they're communities. And I guess it depends on which blockchain I bring it. Of course, ENS, even ENS versus Badass, Ethereum has more integrate ENS, Brantley and our community there, they have it's not even though Badass is a fork on Ethereum. Maybe I'll just stop rambling here or talking. Kind of the question is, what can people do with an SLD? I think the question is, it depends on the blockchain is ported to and maybe the front end app that it's registered on. I mean, I don't know if I'm making sense.
Yeah. I mean, technically you can do all of the same things. It's just where is it accessible from? Yeah. HNS is integrated into Brave browser and Opera or whatever.
Yeah.
So you can still do all the same things with the .badass as you can with the .eth. It's just it would only be automatically accessible through certain interfaces or whatever. But yeah, you can do a lot of things. You can just use it for, basically, whatever you can do with an ENS name, which is you can assign multiple different network addresses to a single name. So kind of what HIP2 does, HIP2, which allows you to say this is my handshake address, or if you go to this handshake domain, this is my handshake address for that name, and this is my Ethereum address for that name. And you can do the same thing, but just through a different type of API with an ENS name.
Got it.
And you can set DNS records, so you can resolve websites and do all those things. You can set content hashes. So instead of going to a traditional DNS IP address, you can point it to an IPFS hash or a SIA hash or whatever. And yeah, at the moment, your TLDs are NFTs. Yeah, which is why we call them NFTLDs. But there's no necessarily the SLDs don't have to be NFTs. So that's kind of up to the TLD owner, how they want to set that up. But then you can theoretically do different stuff with that. You can do securitization, or you can do fractionalization or whatever.
Cool.
Where you can say there's this TLD, but you split up ownership of it, and then now anyone that has a certain amount of tokens gets a percentage of all the registration fees or something like that. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. Yeah, I was showing OpenSea. I mean, so many people are crazy over OpenSea. So I could you said that the TLD level could be put onto OpenSea because it's an NFT, but you could also, I think also most probably would, at least, on the domain community, would probably want to actually have the SLD also on as an NFT that they could have those custom buyers, their customers, right? A lot of people would basically, the dream is, the goal is of many in Handshake, I believe, is to make their own registrars, and, kind of like replicate maybe ENS domains, making like a DAO, like what they did with their even own token. I actually claimed it. I did a video, dude, where I registered a .eth. And I claimed it. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I just because I did that video. But I think a lot of people want to kind of like, myself included, kind of want to like make it rain with like making like your own ENS, making your own kind of like registry, making your own maybe even like DAO, or issue your own token or your own giveaways or airdrops to your community, right? Like I think that's kind of one of the goals a lot of Handshake people have is, and I think this is almost, I think, what can be done with this, or is very possible, right? With this, like bridging it to like Matic, especially because there's very low gas fees, and then you could have like a mini, people could be buying SLDs, or you could give it, almost let them get it, and then if they're in it, they would get benefits like airdrops. Everybody loves airdrops and other kind of bonuses if they're a user or a member of this TLD on that blockchain as an SLD user. Is this, am I saying things that are possible or correct?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's all just like programmable stuff. Whenever you want to do, you can do.
Yeah. I guess I think a lot of people, I'm going to try my best to do it maybe myself with some people to help me. But so basically, like you say here on your, I think on your homepage, set up a registrar with your NFT at TLD, and it goes to your Twitter. So what would be, like basically open source ENS contracts, same as the badass.domain. So, I think, of course, I don't mind paying my own hosting. I'd love to put it on even decentralized hosting, like, Akash is pretty popular, and there's, others that would be like completely, people want to be as decentralized in our community, right? In Handshake, they want to be decentralized domains, decentralized TLDs, decentralized, hosting, to be as unstoppable as possible. So, yeah, I mean, what are some of the steps? Like I moved it over, and then I'm on Matic now. I could then get this fork of ENS domains, probably using the config that you made with badass domains. What's involved? I guess I really want to do this myself, to be honest. At the next step, port it over some.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, I'm like putting this script together. So it really should just be like one transaction, and it'll set everything else up for you. And yeah, really, that's it. Like, it's not that complicated. Yeah, you just have to set up, the interface that then like interacts with the SLD registrar that you just created.
Okay. All right, I could save that for a future video once I get that going. But do you have any other points? I think we covered my questions, I believe. But yeah, I mean, I'll do a separate video, I think, just on my own, going through how I registered, unless you think that would be helpful. We do it now.
No, it's probably going to be the same. Maybe by the time that you make the video, the UI thing might be fixed, but it's like we're not like solving the exact problem. We're like upgrading the whole system. So it might take a while.
I was thinking about maybe even doing it after we talked. I could just make it, or I could do it, but maybe I could just run it through right now. So the steps to see. So you can see on the screen, you gotta make sure you add a Polygon. I forgot how I did this because it was already done before. I forgot how I did it, but you're not doing it on Ethereum's default on MetaMask. So I forgot it was already there for me, but you had to add the network and then Polygon. Like I have Binance Smart Chain and some others, testnet. So you have to that's one kind of little bit of a trouble, I think. People don't do that. But once you do that, I had to get Matic into my wallet. So I bought it somewhere on the exchange. It was a little bit painful. And then I sent it to this address. And it took a little bit of time from that centralized exchange. Honestly, couldn't believe it took like a while. But once I had my wallet set up, then I could log in. I had funds. And then I went to migrate. I put in the TLD that I wanted. that I had. I already owned it. You have to already own it out of auction, your deposit amount. So you're saying I could do like more to prove to somebody I'm committed. Like I could do like 11 or 100 Matic, right? To show somebody, they would see on the address how much I've deposited to show that I'm more serious, because I could lose this if I switched it. And then I added these. And what I did is I did in Bob. I just did screenshots because it's a little bit easier. So I added it in the domain manager. I went to the domain. I added on chain, right? And then I had to mine. I also did in Namebase on their blockchain DNS. I know it's not as decentralized, but I know a lot of people are still on Namebase. And then you had to wait a small mining fee. And then actually it was more like 4 to 6 hours you're supposed to wait. I know your early system, it might be verified sooner, but I think it's still advisable for people to go through this. Yeah. And you can see it on chain, right? You can see this update. This was Chowder. This on New Year's Day. And then you can see you'll be able to migrate once this DNS is updated first. You shouldn't do this until it's updated. And then it will open your MetaMask or whichever wallet to take the deposit as well as a small gas fee. And then it'll say, view migration. There's a little bit of some UI, which you mentioned, but then it will verify. But basically, it'll be ready to go. And now once this is done, that's where you got to add the front end, like a badass domains kind of fork for a host, right? And then this is where somebody could then register .urtld in Matic or whichever blockchain, and then register just very similar to how ENS domains or .badass domains is maintained, right? And then they would create an SLD contract. Anyway, so I basically did that tutorial just now. That's kind of what I did. And that's how this works, right?
Yeah, like small correction, like everything's right up until the end, where once you verify the TLD on cross network handshake, there's no reason to like set up the like .badass or like whatever like website yet. Like you just have the domain name and you can set up records like a normal domain name, but there is no registrar yet. You can't sell SLDs yet. So you'd have to like deploy some other smart contract and then configure all of that stuff to then be able to sell SLDs. And then you would kind of like deploy a .badass app. So at the moment, I'm trying to like focus on like actual usage of the domains, not just like trying to sell SLDs. Like
I know.
There's like way more supply than there is demand to buy SLDs.
I agree.
And it's like not like super interesting. So yeah, for me, that's one of the reasons why I haven't like made that script yet or like integrated into the UI. Even though it's like, yeah, I could probably have that out by tomorrow if I wanted to. It's just like not the most compelling use case. So yeah, I'd rather focus on like people actually setting up and using the domains to host the website or using it for like username, login or something like that.
Okay.
Over it, just selling SLDs.
I mean, I want to use it, to be honest. Like I've been trying to figure out how to do it for, we do those auctions, Flamingo Handshake. Like I have the TLD Flamingo Handshake also as an emoji, et cetera, et cetera. But I was really trying to make it where you could kind of track your early users, right? There's people that have come to the events or sold or bought. And there's lots of these communities, right? So I'm hoping my use would be to allow to give members or users a SLD, or maybe they buy it or they get it for doing something in your community. And then you could also have that relationship later where you could give them benefits such as maybe even issue your own token, which would be really cool, or somehow giving them future airdrops of benefits like access and stuff. That's kind of what I'm hoping to use it for.
Yeah, you can definitely do that.
Okay. I will try. I don't know. But I do agree with you, though. It is kind of just annoying to see people keep selling. We got to get, as a community, I got to get past just flipping TLDs now. And then this could make the next level of flipping SLDs, Like, I agree with you, man. I want people to use these things. That's what even the point of this channel was to show people how to host or to set up, to use these things, not just like create new like things to buy and sell. But I agree. Anyways, if you give me some tips on how to do that, maybe I'm open. I've still been stuck with the login with Handshake function personally. But yeah, I understand how to host on these and build sites on these. I'm just trying to figure out this next level where there could be like usernames and communities and logins with them.
Yeah.
Because I'm more like light tech, right? Like I'm middle, I guess. I'm more like a marketer or a basic website, like WordPress, PHP install kind of stuff. That's if we could get there for me, that'd be great. But I understand that's still a ways off. But thanks for everything you do, Kiba. I guess is there anything else we should squeeze into this video?
No, I think that's about it. Like, yeah, Rithvik has been super helpful and
yeah,
has
he's
actually
awesome.
a lot of code. So that's pretty awesome to see. Besides that, I think.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, Rithvik, shout out to him. He's silent. I should try to. I don't know if he would be willing to, but get him here. Yeah, he's helped me out a lot and with some SSL of Handshake Mercenary back in the day and some other things. I always appreciate him. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll add this up on the blog. Probably at least link it on skyclue.com/XNhns. That already has 2 previous videos that we did together last year. And it's great to see this project growing. Thanks again.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you.